Good morning, nerds. Not morning at all. Not gonna lie. Uh, it is actually after 6 o'clock at night. I had a rough morning. Not gonna lie. I was gonna record this morning, but I was in a terrible mood. Uh, Between the rain, I had to wake up early, and then had some really frustrating things happen uh, before I even got on my way to work. I decided not to record this morning because I don't like to record them in a bad mood. But I'm in a better mood now. It's the end of the day. Getting ready to go home and watch some soccer. Should be awesome. Um, yeah. So it is Saturday. I almost said Sunday. Why is my camera all wonky? Anyways, it's Saturday. It's a beautiful day outside. It was not a beautiful day outside when I went to work, so it's nice to come out and see bright, sunny weather. Last night, apparently, the the northern lights essentially were able to be seen from my house, which is crazy because we're nowhere near where the northern lights normally are. Apparently, there was a big geomagnetic storm that caused the aurora to be seen even further south than it normally would. But hey, it's all good. Sky was purple last night. It was crazy. Um, Apparently, we're going to be able to see it again tonight. We shall see. But yeah. In other news, not a whole lot going on today. Had work, busy 8 hours of work. Um, One kid had a band field trip today to an amusement park. I'm currently waiting for news that they're on their way back or are back, so I can go pick him up. And then the other kid just kind of went to her friend's house, so that she had a pretty chill day. My wife had a really chill day apparently too, so it's all good. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, so she deserves it. She actually took a 4 day weekend this week. She took Friday off and Monday off, so bookends her Mother's Day weekend well. But yeah, this is really weird. I don't like. I normally have in my head a general idea of how much time I've spent on these, just based on like landmarks and that kind of thing, and I normally know when I need to be at a certain point of my ramblings by where I am in actual space. Right now, I have no clue. It's been 3 minutes, and it could have just as easily been 6 or 7 in my head. But but yeah, it is what it is. Uh, Wanted to touch on what frustrated me this morning, and see if you guys have any ideas on how to handle it. I'm not going to go into detail because it was a family matter between me and my son. He did something that was really frustrating, um, and seemed a bit ungrateful and was somewhat disrespectful. I don't think he meant it to be harmful, but he was joking around in front of his friends, and it really made me mad because it was something I did for him, and then he was ungrateful and somewhat disrespectful. If it wasn't my kid, I probably would have handled it a bit differently, but since it was, I took a different approach to it. But I guess what I'm kind of trying to say is like what I'm trying to ask is how are ways that you handle um, how are ways that you handle people who are disrespectful to you when you're doing them a service. It's actually something that I something that I deal with quite a bit at work because I do deal in a gratuity based pay schedule. Um, and so it's a little bit different at work than it was with my son this morning. But what are some good ways that you can deal with disrespect or maybe not even disrespect, just not showing gratuity, gratitude, whatever, whenever you're doing a service for somebody and they're not being gracious back, I guess is kind of what I'm wondering. Um, for me, most of the time, it doesn't change for me a lot of the time. Uh, for the most part, like there's some people at work who are like, man, this guy doesn't tip, and he never does, and this, that, and the other. That never has changed the way that I deal with that person, because I'm like, well, maybe he hasn't tipped you because you treat him like crap. Because sure, maybe because he hasn't tipped you in the past, but you never know. Maybe this guy's life has changed for the better in the 45 minutes that since we saw him last. You never know. Part of it's that like you never really know what somebody else is going through, and so like my whole thing is if you're kind to people, then odds are somebody eventually will show kindness back to you. And maybe people take that as I can walk all over this guy because no matter what, he does what he can to do things better. But my hope is that at some point people are gracious and kind back, I guess. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that. If you have any better ideas or other ideas of how you handle somebody that's not gracious, or if you're in a gratuity based system like I am, what are we can't hustle for tips, uh, which makes sense to me. So we can't be like, oh man, you should give me this, like that, whatever. That's against the rules, and so we're gonna go ahead and throw that out. We're not gonna say, well, you should straight up be like, oh, you need to be like, I'm not gonna tell somebody, oh, you need to be gracious for what I do for you. I I will do that with my kid. That's a different story. I definitely will sit. I'm gonna sit him down tonight and have a little chit chat with him because earlier today I did not have the time to break it down with him, and hopefully he's taken some time today to think through what happened. And he already texted me and said sorry, but I do want to have a longer talk with him about it. Um, but yeah, what are some methods that you have of dealing with frustrations? I guess is kind of what I'm trying to say, because I can always use more uh, mechanisms for. Some people might call them coping mechanisms. Some people might call them life skills. Whatever. I can always use more of those. So, oh man, my nose is itchy. There's a lot of pollen in the air today. I can tell. Whew. But yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna take the high road now and say, you know what? Today, the rest of the day is gonna be a good day. I got some soccer to watch tonight. I might have D&D tonight. That's still in question. There's some turmoil going on in our group. Uh, not in game in real life that I'm not involved with because it happened after I left one session. But yeah, gonna do that. Gonna get some good rest tonight, and then wake up for my Friday tomorrow, which is also Mother's Day. So, uh, yeah, it's gonna be a good day. Gonna be a good night. I'll talk to you nerds later. See you guys.